So Alabama's 2020 offense was all about deception and misdirection. So it was very interesting that a misdirection run finished as this offense's most featured concept in meaningful minutes. So traditionally, counters are meant to play off inside runs like, some zones, some duos, but it's just trying to get the defense going one way before we hit them going the other side. So this formation, last couple of years, the strip stunt formation has signified the north-south run scheme duo. And duo dives actually was this offense's second most featured run concept. So you can see how there was complementary football going on there outside of the fact that 43% of Alabama's offense was a form of zone. Definitely a run concept that is easily tied with counters because of the coordinated flow. They can pass off as down blocks, and of course, once the defense goes one way, we hit them the other. But again, the defense is over shading towards this three-man bunch formation. They want to make sure that all their gaps are filled up because they're anticipating some type of zone or duo that way. So obviously, we're going to hit them the other way. So even though counter was one of the least consistent forms of plays amongst Alabama's most featured runs and passes, only this and outside zone reads finished below a 50% success rate. So you tell me why this offense was really, really good. The things that they overly ran worked. But here's the thing. 1 in 5 of them resulted in a gain of 10 or more yards. So even though it wasn't necessarily consistent, it was potent enough to keep featuring it. And here is an explosive carry on 2nd and 2. So it's a very good job from our lines covering our butts. Since we have two pullers, obviously, if they bring pressure through that hole, it can thwart this play before it gets going. So we have to make sure that when we're pulling someone around that we have someone to account for that gap. So very good job from Landon Dickerson. He eventually blocks 2 people at once on the same play while everyone else is working to cover their butts on the backside. But eventually, you'll see our left guard take over that nose. Landon will take over this mugger. Guard is pulling around the edge. Tackle will eventually high wall and take that end, and our tight end will take this edge with our receiver going up to the next level here. But you'll notice because they're in a tight front, 4-eye, nose, 4-eye, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to arc around this guy, create an edge, and then try and lead up in front of him. There's just not a whole lot of space to do that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So what we're ended up going to do, we're just going to wash him down. And then doing that frees up our previously edge setter to then become a lead blocker in addition to our wrapper. But it's just going to end up to just boxing in that linebacker. This receiver takes advantage of this corner, and we're going to have a whole lot of green grass, like I said. So we cover our butts. Everyone's sealed inside. No one's able to penetrate and thwart the play before we get going. Seal that edge inside. Trapper seals him with a double team with our tight end. He's taken advantage of, and there is our alley. And like I said, there's just no one there to corral Najee Harris for the big explosive carry that sets up a touchdown.